What's up, guys? I've never made any kind of video before, so this is probably gonna be unhinged. But yeah, this is my inking tutorial. So I kind of already started on this page, but what I'm gonna do is show you guys my supplies first, and then kind of go through what I'm doing right now, and how I do my cross hatching. And then I'll speed that up and kind of go over how I start a panel with this next one. So first off, I got this pack of Master's Touch fine liners, and it comes with I don't know if you can, yeah, there you go, 0.05, 0.1, 0.3, and 0.5, and a brush pen. And I do have a Faber-Castell brush pen that I bought individually, but I do like having this one because it is a little bit thinner than the other one, so I like to get in the smaller areas with that. For penciling, I just might as well show you. I just have just like a metal pen. I like having a heavier pen, but that might just be personal preference. So yeah, right now I'm doing the hatching on his head, and I want to point out that I did a little bit of rim lighting here by just pretty much filling this all in with black, and basically just I don't know how to explain this other than not drawing in the area around the arm to create a kind of effect of light almost bouncing off the other side of the room. And if you'll look at some of the areas here, you'll notice that I do my hatching almost in a triangular shape. And I'm actually gonna erase this part because I didn't like how it looked. So me personally, I make changes that I think would look better in the inking phase, but I know a lot of people like to just follow their pencils, which is totally fair. But yeah, if I just don't like how something looks, then I'll just kind of go with the flow. I might even add some extra lines right here to extenuate the fold of the clothes, maybe even connect that there. So yeah, it's as you saw right there, it's kind of just like a process of going through the image and kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say making it up as you go, but definitely just let your creativity flow a little bit with the inking, and you'll get good results. So yeah, now I'm gonna start hatching on the head up here, and also this is all black, but I'm gonna have some rim lighting right here, just to kind of, because this background is going to be all black, so I kind of want to add some contrast so it doesn't get lost in translation. So when I do my hatching, I try to go as thin as possible, but I have kind of a heavy hand, so kind of comes out thick sometimes with the brush pen, but I like using the brush pen so I can kind of make it thicker as I go along and make it have this triangular shape. I missed one right here. So yeah, also you'll notice I added some hard light right here. When there's a hard light source, things like this are gonna cast a heavy shadow, so it's kind of like a solid line. Another example is up here with a younger Harry, with sunlight beaming on him, so I kind of wanted to show the heavy shadow there. And you also notice I left blank spaces here for the cracks in the destroyed, broken building, just to kind of I guess, show that. And in the coloring phase, I'm just gonna kind of make that dark so you can still kind of see it, but it's still in the shadow, if that makes sense. I'm very bad at explaining things if you can't tell. So, yeah. As you'll notice here, like right around the curve of the head, I'm kind of going lighter with the shading just to kind of extenuate the curve of the head. Don't want to leave this completely blank though, there's still shadow there. So yeah, I kind of don't really follow my pencils, you know, to the T. As you can tell, there's still certain areas where my lines kind of deviate, and I know some people don't really like to work that way, but personally for me, I just kind of like to let my imagination kind of go wild with it, not absolutely changing everything, but you know, changing things where I see fit, even when I'm inking. Like, don't be too careful with your inking. Don't be reckless with it either, but don't be intimidated by it. I know, like, the finality of it all is like kind of intimidating for some people, like because you can't erase it. So yeah. And actually, I just remembered, there was an area right here that I actually had to white out because I did make a mistake. I went over the thumb and had to white it out. So just adding the lines back over it so it doesn't just look like a blob. And here I kind of tried to layer the lines, but I didn't like how it looked, so what I'm going to do is just kind of black it out and then just do some regular hatching here. When I'm doing, I would like to first point out the difference between hatching and cross hatching if you don't already know. Cross hatching would be something like this, where there's two, I guess, opposite lines, perpendicular, that intersect. And hatching would be, something more like this, or this, where it's just one kind of direction. So certain areas just, I feel, look better with hatching, and when you need a little bit more of a softer shadow, I like to use cross hatching. And you'll notice my hatching is a little bit thicker just because I like to make it look a little bit more harsh, but that's just personal preference. So here I didn't really like the way I depicted the bicep right here, so I'm gonna ink where I want to and then erase what I had so it doesn't mess with my brain. Maybe add some hatching here. And something I should point out that I actually just remembered, before I went and did all the hatching and cross hatching and everything with my brush pens. I first went in with the fine liners and kind of got a rough, not rough, but just did basic line work, I guess, for the forms, just so I can kind of have an idea of where everything is, so that I can later go in and make changes to just make things look a little better that I might have messed up on with the pencils. So yeah, like even this entire forearm over here, I changed the way it looked because I didn't like the way it looked in my pencils. So yeah, I make changes until the very end. Which also helps collaborating with writers. I never feel inconvenienced to be asked to make a change unless I literally can't change it at that point in the process. But if I can, I will, and it's never an inconvenience to me. I'm adapting their story. I want it to look how they want it to look, so no harm, no foul. Gonna erase this. Let's see how that looks. Script said they wanted scars on Harry's hands, so the angle on this hand, you kind of can't see the back of his hand, so on this one I made sure to extenuate that and leave it kind of blank over here. Let me erase that so you can kind of see it better. Looks a little bit scarred, but yeah. So I want to point out that in between each finger, actually made this one too thick. In between each finger, I kind of drew just a solid line that kind of gets thicker towards the bottom here. So kind of emphasizes the curve of the finger, which I'm also going to go in and add some hatching to add a little bit more depth to that. Cool. Actually going to extend this up here, connect that to the knuckle. Little insight into how I do anatomy when I'm drawing my figures and everything. I like to look at the body as a puzzle. Every piece fits together. The neck goes into the ball of the head, which goes into this fold of the neck right here, and kind of all goes together like one big puzzle. So I like to draw everything with that in mind. Everything kind of is supposed to fit. So I like to just remember everything goes together and kind of base the way I draw my figures off of that. Just doing some final touches here, some areas I might want to change. Yeah, I think it's good, so I'm gonna go ahead and erase. I like to add the text boxes or speech bubbles, whatever is in the panel. I just like to add it there for a frame of reference for the composition, but I erase it afterwards so that a letterer can go in and do it digitally if they like. And I'm actually gonna untape this from the table, which I do because the paper warps as I work with it, so I like to tape it to the table to minimize that as much as possible. So you'll see I kind of what am I doing? You'll see I kind of over erased it here. So I'm just going to go back in and reapply these lines. Just make it look cleaner for when I take a picture of it. I don't have a scanner, although I could go to the library and use a scanner, which I might do. And I'm actually glad that I had to go back in this area, because totally wouldn't have caught this, but totally forgot to shade these fingers. Cool, so looks like I'm done here with this panel. I'm gonna have to go back in here with my whiteout, which I don't have on me right now, unfortunately. But yeah, that's the end of that panel. So now I'm gonna work on this one. I'm just gonna get it started. Not gonna have time to finish it tonight, but I'm gonna show you my process on like I was saying earlier, doing the outlines in a fine liner before I go in with a brush pen. So I'm gonna show that before I go. Alright, so now that I have the paper taped down again, I like to go with the 0.3. It's kind of middle of the ground. I don't like to go too thin with this part. Yeah, so here I'm gonna make sure to have the scars and a little bump over the edge here, just to kind of simulate that. Just kind of freehanding it here. So for scars, I like to kind of go with almost dotted lines or broken up lines, because you know, I think a solid line is a little bit too harsh for a scar, unless it's a deep one. Well, I guess these got to be pretty deep to be this noticeable, but you know, I just like to make it look like raised scar tissue, which I think this gives off that effect. And for this stage, I don't really like to get too into the shadows. I just kind of like to get a base line work down before I go in and do all the hatching, cross-hatching, all that good stuff. But I don't have to make it really clean, because I know this is all going to be shaded in, so, you know, I can kind of go quick with this one. And a little tip for drawing hands, it's important to keep in mind the hand kind of rests like this. If you want a relaxed hand, kind of make it look like it's curving. So, yeah. Kind of wanted to highlight the missing pinky here, so I made him do a little hand gesture adjusting his apron that he just tied in this panel. Also kind of continues that action of tying the apron. And it's important to remember how clothes fold, which I've learned just over a long period of studying the world, I guess. The way this comes so easily to mind is not only my imagination, but also my observation of the world. So it's always good to get inspiration from life and kind of see the way things work, the way clothes fold, the way trees blow in the wind, the way hands rest, the way cloth falls. Yeah, it's always good to kind of get out and just kind of look at everything, look closely. And here you'll see I'm kind of drawing the bend of the finger at a little bit of an angle to kind of tapers at the end there to show that it's bending downwards. And then I have some hatching lines that I'm going to add in later. I like to use the fine liners so I can kind of go heavy with my lines and really get the lines down, but not make it too thick. I think I'm gonna stop it there. So yeah, actually I do have one area I forgot. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to call it here. I hope this was helpful. I know I'm pretty bad at explaining things, but I hope you got something out of it. I'm probably gonna go in with the brush pen tomorrow. So yeah, I'll see you guys later.